It was a chilly October afternoon in Winchester, and Halloween was just days away. Cindy Parks, a chemist in her early 40s, sat in her lab at Maltech Industries, staring at a vial filled with a strange, bubbling liquid. Halloween was her favorite holiday. She loved seeing kids in costumes, running around excited for candy, their faces lit up with joy. But something had changed over the years. Fewer kids came trick-or-treating, and more teenagers, even adults, showed up at her door in lazy costumes. Sometimes no costumes at all. And Cindy hated it. "Why are adults always trying to act like kids these days?" she muttered, gripping the vial of anti-aging formula that her colleague Ted was working on. The drug had been designed for people suffering from rapid aging diseases, and in small doses, it worked wonders. But in high doses, it caused something bizarre. It made people regress mentally, turning them into children before slowly reversing their physical age. Ted, her colleague and crush, walked in. He was tall, handsome, and a brilliant scientist. He worked in the anti-aging department at Maltech, where he had been perfecting the formula for months. "You still here, Cindy?" Ted smiled, his blue eyes sparkling. "You've got to take a break once in a while." Cindy's heart skipped a beat. She and Ted had grown close over the past year. In fact, they'd been secretly dating for months now, though no one at Maltech knew. Cindy glanced at the vial again, a wicked idea forming in her mind. "I've got a little work left to do," she replied, tucking the vial into her lab coat pocket. "But don't worry, I'll be out soon." Ted walked closer and glanced at the vials on her desk. "That's the batch we discarded. The dosage was too dangerous. We can't keep this stuff lying around." Cindy shrugged, hiding her excitement. "I know. I'll dispose of it properly." Ted looked at her for a moment but then nodded. "All right. See you later then. Are we still on for Halloween?" "Absolutely," Cindy said with a grin. "We've got big plans." As soon as Ted left, Cindy smirked. She wasn't planning on throwing the drug away. In fact, she had been sneaking vials of it for months. She had a plan, one that would change the way Halloween worked in Winchester forever. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Ryan Rhodes and Brenham Thomas, both 18, were biking through the streets, their minds buzzing with ideas for causing chaos. Known troublemakers, they loved pulling pranks on anyone and everyone. Halloween was their favorite night of the year, a night when pranks were not just allowed but expected. "I can't believe we're too old for trick-or-treating," Ryan grumbled, adjusting his cheap plastic werewolf mask. "It sucks." Brenham, wearing a wrinkled zombie mask, laughed. "Who cares, man? We're still gonna get free candy, right?" Ryan nodded, a wicked grin spreading across his face. "Yeah, free candy, free chaos. Let's do it." The boys hopped on their bikes, riding around town, egging houses, scaring little kids, and even throwing toilet paper over trees. Their cheap masks didn't fool anyone, but they didn't care. Free candy was free candy. After causing trouble for hours, they spotted Cindy's house. They had heard rumors that she always gave out the best chocolate. As they approached the house, Cindy and Ted, both dressed as a witch and a warlock, were waiting at the door, bowls of candy in hand. "Trick or treat!" Ryan and Brenham shouted, snickering under their masks. Cindy's eyes glinted mischievously. "Here you go, boys," she said sweetly, handing them both some chocolate. Ted, standing beside her, shot her a curious look, but said nothing. Unbeknownst to Ryan and Brenham, the chocolate was laced with the anti-aging drug. "Thanks," Ryan said, grabbing the candy and tossing it into his bag. The boys rode off, already plotting their next prank. As Halloween night went on, Cindy and Ted continued handing out their drug-laced candy to any teenager or adult who showed up without a proper costume. Cindy had grown tired of the lazy costumes and people trying to relive their childhoods. She decided they needed a lesson. At first, the night seemed like a success. The younger kids got the real candy, while the teens and grown-ups who came without costumes, or with half-hearted attempts, got the special chocolate. By the time the clock hit 8 p.m., Cindy and Ted were done. They sat back, grinning, thinking about what would happen to the adults who wanted to act like kids. but neither of them had anticipated the chaos that would soon follow. The next morning, Ryan and Brenham woke up feeling different. "Dude, I feel weird," Brenham said, rubbing his head. "Like, happy?" Ryan blinked, his mind a fog. "Yeah, I feel kinda nice. Like, I don't want to mess with people anymore. I feel like playing tag or something?" Brenham nodded eagerly. "Yeah, that sounds fun." They grabbed their bikes and rode around town, but something strange was happening. The entire town of Winchester seemed to have regressed. Teenagers were playing with toys, parents were throwing tantrums, and even some of the town's elderly residents were giggling and running around like children. Ryan and Brenham noticed a group of kids they had pranked the night before. One of them had dropped his bag of candy, and without a second thought, Ryan and Brenham hopped off their bikes and helped him pick it up. "Thanks, mister," the little boy said, looking up at them in confusion. "No problem," Ryan said cheerfully. Brenham beamed. "Yeah, always happy to help." The two troublemakers had no idea why they were acting so nice. All they knew was that they suddenly felt like different people, good people. At the same time, chaos was breaking loose. Parents, teenagers, and adults who had eaten the drug-laced chocolate had mentally regressed into children. Winchester was in complete disarray. Grown men and women threw tantrums in the streets, demanding candy and toys. Teenagers acted like toddlers, climbing playground equipment and fighting over swing sets. Even the mayor was seen finger-painting on the courthouse steps. As the news of Winchester's strange epidemic spread, the military quarantined the town. Soldiers patrolled the streets wearing gas masks, unsure how to contain the situation. Inside the lab at Maltech, Cindy and Ted watched the chaos unfold on TV. Cindy's plan had worked. Too well. "Oh no," Cindy whispered, her face pale. "This wasn't supposed to happen. It's out of control." Ted's eyes widened as he realized the extent of the damage. "We have to confess, Cindy. This is too big to hide." Eventually, the military traced the epidemic back to Cindy and Ted. Faced with the enormity of what they'd done, Cindy confessed to everything. She had let her frustration with adults and teenagers acting like children push her into something dangerous. And now the entire town was paying the price. For her role in the Halloween disaster, Cindy was sentenced to double life in prison. Ted, who had unwittingly gone along with the plan, was given a lighter sentence. 20 years. As the years passed, Winchester remained a town in quarantine, its citizens forever trapped in a childlike state. Halloween came and went, but for Cindy and Ted, there was no escape. Their attempt to reclaim Halloween for the kids had turned it into a chilling reminder of the dangers of playing with time. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of Winchester, a stash of candy still sat, waiting for the next unwitting victim.